YouTube, what's going on? Appreciate y'all watching my videos. What's going on? What's going on? Wait for somebody to come in my video. Make sure my live working. Hopefully my battery don't go dead. What's going on? What's going on, YouTube? Appreciate y'all watching my videos. What's going on? Anyway, as y'all can see, I'm in a hotel room. I'm in a hotel room right now. So, but yeah, so I'm in travel status right now at my job. So, right now I'm in Texas. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm on training for the next couple weeks. So, but, but yeah, I'm just in this little hotel room. I'm in Texas. So, y'all can see a little hotel. It's the bedroom. It's a little suite. Got a refrigerator and stuff like that. So, it's not too bad. I mean, I've seen better, but you know, it's all good. Just your standard accommodations. I got a flat screen TV in there, bathroom and stuff. But but yeah, man, I'm just out here in Texas. They sent me out here for training, so learning this new job. So, but we getting into some interesting things, you know. So, let's see what we got into this week. We got into what we got into. We got into we got into 2290s. We got into 2290s, retail truck tax and retail tire. We got into tire taxes. So, you know, in excise, we do examinations on excise taxes. So 2290s are 2290s is an excise tax, and that's the type of examinations I do. Retail truck tax, retail truck and trailer taxes. So when you buy or purchase a truck, a dealership is supposed to pick up the FET tax on a sale of a truck and trailer. And then the tire tax. Whenever a wholesaler export, sell, use tires and things of that nature, a manufacturer or retailer is supposed to pick up excise taxes for tires. So that's what we learned about this week, crunching them numbers. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we just out here training, man. We just out here learning tax law and training. You know, um, learning how to do excise audits, whatnot. So that's kind of what we're doing. But I'm enjoying it. It's about eight eight of us out here. It's a small group. The excise group is a very small business unit, so it's, you know, it's not as glamorous as other types of business units, but hey, it's a job, it pays, and you know, it is what it is. So, you know, I'll do it. Hold on, y'all. This the AC kicked in. Turn the AC off. Make all that noise. But let me see if anybody got some questions. Talking about anything. No, ain't nobody talking about nothing. So yeah, so I thought I'd just do this live real quick, check in with y'all. I ain't really doing much. Um, I mean, it's Saturday, so we ain't, government don't work on the weekend. So I'm just taking it easy. I'm just taking it easy. I don't know. I might go to the mall. I might go to the mall later or something like that, but and walk around. But I'm good. You know, taking it easy. It's just a breath of fresh air to get away, you know, and take it easy and not have to worry about life stuff. There's always something to worry about, something to do. It's nice to just take it easy and just do nothing. You know, it's like I'm really enjoying myself. I'm really enjoying myself to get this new career going. I've been in trucking 15 years. You know, different facets of trucking, different facets of transportation. Um, and it's just nice to just get a reprieve and just sit down for a while, you know, and just not be pressed and not be in a hurry. Gotta go somewhere, gotta go here. Like you know, in trucking, like I ran all over the country, you know, dealing with all kinds of people. And sometimes I just want to sit down and do nothing. You know, you just get tired, you know, and like life, people don't realize life is a lot of work. You know, it's just nice to just wake up and not have nowhere to go. You know, I'm not on nobody's schedule. I ain't got to be nowhere. It ain't, I can sit right here. I can sit right here. I can sit right here. You know, it's just nice to just take it easy, you know. So, um, but anyway, I'm enjoying myself. But but yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'm in Texas on travel, um, doing some training, and so with the government, that's what's going on with me. And but yeah, all expenses paid. You know, that's how we do, man. All expenses are paid. All expenses are paid, and get a little bit of per diem. Um, I'm hoping that maybe I can clear maybe about 1,500 for this travel because I don't spend a lot of money. I don't do a whole lot, so um, you know, I crunch the numbers. I'm gonna try to clear about 1,500 on this trip. I'm gonna try to clear about 1,500 on this trip because we get per diem. Um, we get paid to travel basically, and get our $70 a day for per diem, and the flight. the room, everything paid for, and I get to put the per diem in my pocket. And so I think I spent like $100 on groceries. And so I broke everything down. I should be able to, I bought 3 gallons of water, because the water in Texas is nasty. The water in Texas is nasty. So I bought 2 gallons of water. I bought some stuff to make a salad. I bought some chicken, and I bought like some cookies, some stuff to snack on. In this hotel, they have lunch, they have breakfast in the morning. So I'll go downstairs in the morning. I'll get a couple apples and some fruit, and then I'll take a couple. They have these little rolls, these little Danish rolls. I'll take 3 or 4 of those and snack on those throughout the day. And during lunchtime, I'll come back to the room and fix something to eat, because the government building is literally across the street. So our instructor allows us to go back to the room for lunch. So he gives us an hour lunch. And so all of us, basically, 1 or 2 of us, they might do like a Uber Eats, but most of us go back to the room and eat. Because about time you don't order something, because they have a cafeteria in the government building, but I guess the company that does the cafeteria, I guess the contract is not renewed or whatever. So is the cafeteria is closed. So they have vending machines, but you don't want to eat chips and Coca-Colas all day. You want some substance. You want food. So come back to the room and fix something. But you end up wasting your whole lunch break waiting for food, trying to get food. So it's easier to just walk across the street. It's like 5 minutes. I mean, you go out to class and you walk down the hall, go downstairs, and you walk across the street, literally. I mean, it ain't even a walk. It is not that of a walk. I mean, literally, like, I can look up my window and I can look at the government building. It's right there. It's go downstairs and walk across the street. So that's, and so that's what's going on with me. So but I was just thinking, like, I know sometimes people be scared to like do new things and stuff like that, but like, I've been nervous this whole time, and like, I know sometimes people, they be scared to like get into new things and learn new things, and you know what I mean? It's just, I hear you. I mean, I'm a person too. I'm nervous. I get nervous trying new things, but we all have to progress in life. You have to make a decision. This is your life. You can't sit up here and complain about all the things out there in the world that's going on when there are things in your life that you can control, and so it's just what it is. It's your life. You make those choices to get out here, or you can stay where you at. Don't make any changes. So I say that to say that I'm a person too. I'm no different than anybody else out here. To be honest, I bump into a lot of people, they smarter than me, and their life is trash for some reason. So, um, like I bump into some really intelligent people, and like for the life of me, I'm like, why aren't you further ahead in life? You know, you staying with your mama, you roommating with people, you 40 years old, still roommating, you 40 years old, still living with your mama, you 40 years old, living mouth, hand to mouth, you 40, 50 years old, still living hand to mouth, you 40, 50 years old, you haven't gotten a level of stability in your life, you know, um, and stability come in different ways, but what I'm saying is just a level of comfort where you don't have to own no house, but damn, like at least have an apartment and some good tenure at your job, 10 years on a job somewhere, and you just got some stability in your life, steady paychecks, some health care, a car, and some savings in the bank, and just some stability when you get up and you just feel stable, and you know, like I make these videos and I be ranting on and stuff, and I just want to share my experience with the world and just let everybody know I'm just like everybody else. You can do it. You can do it. So, you know, you can do it. It's it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. But, my whole thing is how I move, and my mantra is I have no choice. That's how I feel about it. I have no choice but to go and do this thing over here and make changes for my life. That's how I feel about it. I have no choice. I can't complain with nobody. I can't get mad at. I can't get mad at my mama. I can't get mad because once you get up to about 20 years old, 22, 23 years old, every decision you make is on you. When you 10, you can blame your mama, your auntie, your daddy, and stuff like that. But when you turn, when you turn 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24 years old, and you start making decisions, everything fall back on you. And you can't blame nobody else, you know. And so, you know, it's just kind of one of those things. It's just I watch the world, right? I watch social media. I watch people, and like I watch people. I was like, man, you could do it because I've been where you at. I've been that guy, you know, and like I be talking to people, and like they like, man, it ain't no jobs out here. I've been applying to jobs. You keep applying. You keep applying. Like, I mean, I remember in my 20s when I used to apply to jobs, like I used to just apply to jobs and you just get doors shut in your face. I remember in my 20s just applying to jobs, applying to jobs. In my 30s, applying to jobs, applying to jobs. And here now I'm in my 40s, and it's like it don't really phase me anymore. Everybody got to put their time in. Everybody got to put their time in. You know, I'm not the first 40-year-old. I'm not the first person to have doors and shut in their face and have struggles in life. I'm not that first person. I mean, you can go back 100 years, 300 years, you know, all the struggles that people dealt with. You're not the first one, you know. I mean, you can go back in time where, you got people back in 1950 went to college and got a degree. They had a family, they had bills, they had all the same stuff. The stuff you're dealing with, you're not dealing with nothing nobody ain't never dealt with. Inflation always been here. Prices have always gone up. Interest rates have always gone up. And like people be rolling around, flopping around on the floor like they're the first person in time, the first person in the world dealing with problems. You're not the first person to get cancer. You're not the first person to have medical bills. You're not the first person to deal with high rent. And so people out here complaining, but they ain't doing nothing to do something with themselves to develop new skills. They're not doing nothing. They're just sitting around complaining, crying. And so how about you stop crying and how about you stop crying? Take that energy that you crying and complaining and on social media, blah, 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 cussing and carrying on. Take that energy and go learn a new skill. Get a piece of paper and write down 5 to 10 skills that could get you to $200,000 a year. You got a cell phone. You can Google all the skills that's needed to make $200,000 a year. You write them skills down. You write them down. And then you figure out a way how to obtain those skills. It ain't that hard. And then you just piece by piece. Okay, if it's a class that costs $500 that you need to take to get a skill that gets you to 100, 150, 200,000 a year. Well, okay, you only got the 500. Well, you need to figure out a way to make an extra 500 so you can pay for that extra skill, take that extra class, go to a networking event to get around some people. You know what I mean? And so like everybody got all these excuses. Man, you gonna be in your you gonna be on your deathbed, laying there in your coffin with excuses. Man, I shoulda, woulda, shoulda laid up there. It don't make no sense. All this shoulda, woulda, And so I say that to say, because I'm sitting here on a paid travel, getting paid to travel across the country, meet new people. I'm networking with professionals. Like everybody in my cohort, everybody in my circle, we all got degrees. We got accounting degrees, master's degrees, and we all professionals, and we all making 100,000, 150,000, 200,000. And it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful to be here in this space amongst professionals, people who are positive thinking people who want to progress, people who want to learn this work, people who want to do well in their careers. And like, I can't stand the life of me being around dead people who just glorifying stupidity, people who are glorifying, like, I don't, the word I'm looking for. Like you hang around these folk, all they do is they sit around and they glorify being trash. They glorifying being trash in life. I don't need no degree. Okay. Why haven't you got a good job then? It's since you don't need no degree. I'm just saying, like, stop acting like going to get a degree is going to hurt you. It's going to make your life worse. I don't get that. Like, it don't make no sense. Yeah, if more than likely, if you go and get a degree, if you borrow the money, yeah, but the degree itself is not going to hurt you. Even the worst degree, even sociology, won't make your life worse. At least you can check the box. I got a 4-year degree. But if you went and got student loans, that's a whole nother conversation. That's a different conversation, because you don't have to get student loans to get a degree. You could have worked part-time when you was in college. I worked part-time when I was in college. I associated myself around a bunch of people who worked part-time when I was in college. And so working part-time in college ain't gonna hurt you. And so we don't want to admit that we're doing life wrong. We're doing it the wrong way. And so we made a bad decision. We don't want to admit that. We always want to blame the president. We want to blame the banks and all that. Stop blaming the banks and take ownership of your situation and say, I messed up. I shouldn't have never borrowed that money to go to school. I shouldn't have never done that. I should have never done that. There are a lot of ways you could have just went to school. People be trying to find this easy way to do life, knowing that it's going to require some work. It's going to require some sacrifice. Yeah, you're going to have to go to college and work. I don't want to go to college and work. Well, like you're trying to find an easy way out. You're trying to find an easy way to do this. And it's like, stop trying to find an easy way out to do shit. Stop doing that. That's the problem. Yeah, you're going to have to put some work in. It's going to require some sweat equity. Yeah. You know, you're going to have to work. You're not going to have a life. Unfortunately, you're not going to have a life for a little while. For a little while, you're going to have to put some work in. Just like losing weight. It's the same thing. And like people be wanting to like pop a pill and get Mercedes Benzes and get millions of dollars with no work. And that's the problem. That's the culture we're living in right now. Everybody got this microwave mentality to life. We just want to put it in the microwave for 2 seconds, ding, and we got a degree. No, you have to put some work in. You know, that's what it is, you know? And so you end up giving your whole life away to paying off $30,000 student loans when you could have just knuckled down and just paid the damn thing off. You could have just knuckled down, got a part-time job, and paid as you go. You could have went to a really cheap college. You could have went to a really cheap college. The community college that I went to in Florida, is still today $100 a credit hour. When I went, it was like about $70 a credit hour. It's still cheap. And so, you know, we always want to point the finger that we made a bad decision. You made the bad decision to go to this very expensive school you had no business going to, you know? And so we spend a lot of time trying to save money on things. We spend all this time trying to save money on shoes, and we try to save money on a trip. We try to save money on a car, on a refrigerator, but we don't apply that same idea to life, other things in life, you know? And it's just one of those things, you know, that taking accountability, you know, as I sit here on a paid government travel, I just got paid last night. My paycheck hit my account, you know, and, you know, I just feel so good being in this situation. You know, I'm getting paid to learn a new skill. I'm getting paid to learn a whole nother job that I don't really know too much about, but I'm getting paid to learn it. And I have some background in it. So like I was saying before with 2290s, you know, 2290s, that's what we learned about this week. So 2290s, retail truck tax, and retail tire tax. And, learning about the whole mechanics of that, learning how to assess the tax and do work papers and stuff like that. It's very interesting. It's a whole nother job, you know? Somebody named E.T. at 40 years old, how much saving you think you should have? At 40? I mean, it's just my opinion. At 40, I'm going to use some common sense. I mean, it's your life. I mean, a lot of people may look at things a little bit different, but it's your life. And I think you have to decide what you think. You have to crunch your own numbers. You have to get a calculator and crunch your own numbers yourself and decide where you want to be in life. Because you have to know and understand that it's going to cost to exist in this world. That's just the fact. It costs money to exist in this world. I don't care if you're a homeless person living on the street. It costs a certain amount of money to live on the street. You have to, if you're a homeless person, you have to eat. It may cost you $1 or $2 a week to live on the street, but at the end of the day, that's a lifestyle, and it costs that much to live on the street. Okay. Now, if you want to strive to and live and get a house that's, you want to have a lifestyle where you want a 5-10 bedroom house and it costs X, Y, and Z. Well, you got to know it costs a certain amount of money to maintain that lifestyle. And so you have to crunch those numbers and figure out the balance between how much you willing to work to maintain a certain lifestyle and the balance between what that number is. So me saying, hey, I think what you said, how much savings you think you should have. Hey, you should have a savings of about 500,000. For some people, that's not enough. They be like, man, you should have 5 million. Some people be like, ooh, I can retire off 500,000. 500,000, I'm good. It's ambiguous. It's fictitious. I mean, you have to crunch those numbers and figure them out on your own. But let me say this. For the average person who makes about $50,000 to $60,000 a year in a 401k, I think an individual should have, if they've been saving like they're supposed to, I think an individual should have about, I'm just going to throw a number out there, about 300,000 or so, 300 to 400,000 in savings. That's my opinion. If you make about $60,000 a year at the age 40, that's you can crunch those numbers and make a good argument. But if you're not going to crunch the numbers and have a good conversation about it, because I know some people, they want to rebuttal, but they haven't crunched the numbers and they can't give me a legitimate reason why or why not, because they going off feelings. Well, I can sit here and say that because I've crunched the numbers, and from experience, from crunching numbers and looking at retirement and keeping the budget, I can just off the top of my head say about 300,000 because I crunched the numbers. But if you're not a budgeting individual, if you're not a person who budgets, keep track of your finances on a regular basis, what I'm saying, you can't really think. You can't think on my level. So that's kind of what I'm saying. And a lot of people, what they do is they go and do stuff, but they haven't crunched the numbers. And then once they crunch the numbers, reality sets in. And it's like, oh, you're right. Yeah, I know I'm right because I crunched the numbers. It's like, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but it is what it is. When you crunch the numbers, it tells you what to do. I mean, it is what it is. If you haven't crunched the numbers, please, I advise you to crunch the numbers so that way you can have a proper perspective on what we're talking about. So, I mean, I'm being really conservative when I say 300,000 at the age 40 in retirement. I'm being really conservative. I mean, me personally, I would say 500,000, but I'm being conservative and I'm saying about 300,000 just to be conservative. Because you got 20 more years to be competitive in the workplace. Once you get to age 60, you're not going to be all that competitive in the workplace. And you talking about 60 years old. And I'm not saying it because you're dead. You're not dead at 60. But let's be honest, when you're 60 something years old, things come a little bit harder. When you're talking about learning a new skill, you setting your ways, you're on the backside of your life. You're on the other side of your life. You're at 60 years old, you're at the enjoyment stage of your life. So you want to be in a certain place in your life. And when you have substantial savings, either a retirement account or something like that, some cash or pay for a house, that allows you to really enjoy. You can get into some things. You can experience some new things. Maybe you can have a little part-time job or something like that. But at age 60, you shouldn't be dabbling. You shouldn't be trying stuff out like that. You shouldn't be doing risky things. 20s, 30s, and 40s, those are the years you should be risking your time. At age 60, at age 55, 60, 65 years old, those are enjoyment years. Those are the years you should be enjoying the fruits of your labor. And so all that labor you did 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s, in your 60s, you should be enjoying that. You can try some things, but it shouldn't be so aggressive as like a lot of things. You shouldn't be trying a new career at age 60. You should be enjoying your life, helping people, meeting people, and just enjoying your life and just having a great time. That's just my opinion on that. And so 300,000 in retirement account, and I think you should have at age 40, I say a good $20,000 in savings. I'm trying to think of a round number at age 40. Because everybody goes with this 3 to 6 months of savings. I don't agree with that. I say minimum 12 months of savings, and 20 to $30,000 in savings. And this is savings that you don't touch. So it could be in a money market account, just sitting there earning interest. And this is like, when I call what to me is savings, a savings account is an account that you put money in it for 2-3 months and you pull the money out. You put money in it for 2-3 months, then you pull the money out. That's not a savings account. A bona fide savings account is money that you put in an account and you never touch it unless it's an extreme emergency. An extreme emergency is like a divorce. Your house burns down. You get in a real serious accident. You in the hospital for 6 months. You exhaust all your resources. A family members dies, and you have to be out of work for 2 months, and you have to go and take care of family affairs. You have a family member is in a dire straight situation. I'm talking about duress situation, and you want to give them a couple $1,000. Extreme emergencies. If it's none of those things, it's not an emergency. Emergency is not buying shoes. Emergency is not because you got some bills late. That's not an emergency. It's not an emergency. I'm talking about the worst of the worst things. A storm, tornado rips your house out in the middle of the night. We talking about emergency things that you would need lump sums of cash, $5,000 in the middle of the night. The worst situations. And so those are the things to me that are extreme emergencies. You lose a job, you know, you out of a job for 2-3 months or something like that. $20,000-$30,000 would definitely get you through that. It would definitely get you through that. And so, because I've been there personally. I've been there. I've been there. I've been through a couple of life events, a couple. And if you got children, you might want to bump it up a little bit more. If you got children, you're responsible for a household, you might want to bump it up a little bit more. Yeah. That's just me personally. And you have to crunch those numbers and figure out what is a good number for you. But to me, I think a good $20,000 to $30,000 that you never touch. And and the thing is like I say that with people, and they find it very uncomfortable to have $20,000 to $30,000 in a savings that they never touch. What? I'll never need that amount of money. Okay, you wait until life hits you, because life hasn't. You haven't experienced no life yet, so you can't fathom things bad happening to you. You couldn't imagine it. You just can't imagine in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, you get a random call or a storm rips the side of your house out. A tree falls through the middle of your living room. What do you do? What do you do? If you got $20,000-$30,000 in the bank, you can go get a hotel or something, and you can stay in a hotel for a month if need be until you get your house fixed, until the insurance company cuts the check. Don't act like the insurance company gonna cut you a check on the spot. It's gonna take them 2-3 months to cut that check. I'm just telling you. I've been there. It takes insurance. The insurance companies don't come along and just cut checks on the spot like that. Now, car insurance, they're a little bit faster for car insurance, but home insurance, they got to send an adjuster, they got to do investigation and all this junk. It takes a while for an insurance company for a house. If you're an adult, that owns a home, if you got kids, you married, yeah, you're going to need about $30,000 in savings. So that way you can hedge against real life stuff happening. You got a spouse that's in the hospital. You got a spouse, you fell down the stairs, you broke your leg, and you in the hospital for 3 months. Extreme situations. And people just walk around, act like these things don't happen. They happen. And so, yeah, that's a good number for me. That's a good number for me. So, yeah. So though that's where I think, but you have to crunch those numbers and decide. You have to crunch those numbers and decide, what's best for you. I mean, if you feel like you don't need a savings, hey, by all means, you don't need a savings. But I know the experience in my life. I know what's helped me through ups and downs. And I know that having some savings has gotten me through some situations. A job loss. I've had a couple job losses. I've dealt with the ebbs and flows of life, and I've been able to do it with some savings. Being a homeowner, being a father, being a husband, I've been able to weather some storms just because I had a little bit of savings. I've been able to take care of my house, been able to take care of my household and take care of my family. No worries. Didn't have to, no worries. You know, I was able to quit quit a different career and go into another career. Because why? I had savings. And, you know, I made a decision. You know, I felt my heart was calling me to a new career. And I was able to do that with ease. And so it wasn't easy. It wasn't fun. But it was a hard decision that had to be done. It was an executive decision that had to be done for the benefit of my life long term, you know. And so sometimes you got to make these hard decisions in life to benefit yourself, to put yourself in a better place long term. And unfortunately, when you don't have a savings, you don't have support, you don't have people in your corner to lean on, well, then you can't use them resources to get into another better situation. You just have to deal with what you got. And it's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate. And it don't have to be that way. It really don't have to be that way, you know. But you don't have to be that way. Dwayne says Cisco is giving out free courses to learn IT technician skills for anyone who wants to learn online. Hey man, do it. I mean, what else are you doing? You gonna sit up there and watch the game? You gonna watch the game? I mean, now granted, I like sports too and everything like that. But if you're trying to better your life, watching the game kind of takes a back seat. When you get some free time, when you're able to get into a good, comfortable place in your career, then you can afford to just chill, not do nothing. Like I feel like I'm in that space right now. Like I put in a whole lot of work over the last 10, 15 years, and I feel like I'm able to just sit and chill and not do nothing. I think I earned that. I think I earned to just sit and chill and do nothing. I think I earned to just go on trips and do nothing. I feel like I can just blow money and on things that I can enjoy and do nothing because I've earned that. But if you haven't earned that yet, you know, wasting time watching the game, wasting time playing Nintendo, wasting time with people that's not benefiting you, wasting time around this and that and the third. It is, you know, you just got to decide, you know, we all got 24 hours in a day and you got to figure out, you know, what's best for your time. What you think is best for your time. So you just have to start and make that decision. But if Cisco is giving out free online courses to be a technician, hey, do it, man. Like you ain't doing nothing else. Learn a new skill. IT skills get you into $150,000 career field, man. Do it. You know, do it. So, but you know, we rather sit and watch the game. You watch a basketball game, football game, everybody on that field making, everybody on that court, everybody on that field making millions of dollars, and you watching them making millions of dollars. They family good. You sitting up there watching them broke. You watching them, you broke. No, you need to go get your million. They getting their million. They playing the game. That's how I see it. You know, it's like, how the hell I'm sitting up here watching them? Like, I'm jealous. I'm watching them. I look at that football field. I'm like, man, all them guys that's sitting on that bench make millions of dollars a year. The coach make millions, and you know, that's how I look at it. I get jealous, and so when I get jealous, that motivates me to go and get mine. And so that's how I look at it. I mean, I'm sorry. That's just how I get pissed off with myself because I've been poor coming up, growing up on food stamps and stuff like that. That's just everything around me. I just think about how to better my life. I'm always thinking about how to better my life. And I get jealous of other people. And so I just like, you know what? I got to go and get mine. It's time for me to go put this work in, you know, like how the hell this guy get to run a ball up and down the court? How this guy get to run a ball up and down the field and make millions of dollars? That ain't right. That ain't right. And so I get jealous. And so then I turn around and be like, you know what? I need to get them skills that pay. I need to get them skills. I can't be mad at him. Why am I mad at him? He did what he needed to do to learn a skill that pay millions of dollars. Well, I need to learn a skill that pay good money then. And so that's how I look at it. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's how I look at it. I know some of y'all probably get upset with me when I'm thinking like that, but um, I'm sorry. It's just that's just how I roll. But coming from a poor family, that was my dream, sitting on the stoop, sitting on the stoop, um, in the projects, watching the world go by and dreaming, oh yeah, when I grow up, I'm gonna get that car right there. That's gonna be my car. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna get this big old house. You looking through magazines and looking at these big old houses and stuff like that. You dreaming, and these people's lifestyles and all that. I'm gonna get this house and all that. And it's just like, well, I ain't gonna never get it if I'll never work towards it. You gotta work towards it. So and so I'm dreaming. I'm a dreamer, and I just be dreaming. I'll be dreaming about these things. And so um that's that's how I roll. Dwayne, let me see. Dwayne say, when I'm on my 10-hour break, I can take an hour to take the course and exam. I know I can build my own computer now. Ooh, man, you come a long way. You come a long way, man. You come a long way. Because if you ain't never done anything around computers, you starting from scratch and you don't know nothing about computers, and all of a sudden you learning all this stuff about computers, you come a long way. I congratulate you, man. You doing good. Just keep it up, man. Just put an hour in, just little pieces, piece by piece, man. And then before you know, a couple years, you're gonna look back on this. You're gonna be sitting in a good, cushy little office job, making 150,000. Cushy little office job, sitting at a desk and making 150,000. You're gonna be like, man, I can't believe it. I just sit and took this class for an hour. You know, I took course careers. I don't know if you know about course careers. Check out course careers. I think course careers they went up to 600, but course careers is a course careers is a online um course careers is an online school that teach career ready skills, um and they have connections with companies when you finish the classes. So um and so when I say career ready skills, what I mean is the classes that you take on course careers, they teach you exactly what you need to do the job that you're applying to. So when you're done with that, you should be able to walk into the job and just do and know how to do the job immediately. So it's basically getting training for the job before you get the job. That's essentially what it is. And so that's what I like about career ready skills. So I highly advise people, if you're looking at another career field, to look into career ready training, career ready skills, because you don't want to learn skills that is a waste of time. You're wasting your time and money. You want to learn skills that are career ready, that are job ready skills. So once you learn the skills, you just walk in the door, boom, you sit down in the chair, you doing the job. Nobody don't need to train you because you already been trained. You went through the courses already. So you're looking at a 2-3 week class, you do it, and then you finish the class, you get the job, and boom, you doing this job that you were trained on through course careers. So let me see. Yeah, hey, what's going on? Microsoft also has courses to learn Microsoft Azure. Yes. Course careers is next, so I can study information technology. I look at Indeed to see what the requirements are in IT technicians. Okay, yeah, that's good. I mean, take a look at IRS dot not IRS. Take a look at usajobs.gov. There are a bunch of IT jobs on the federal government is hiring a bunch of IT professionals. These are you know um you the so like the federal government, they're hiring IT professionals, and you can come on, you get your pension, you get a steady salary, you a union employee. I mean, you get all the benefits of being you know working for federal government. So I'll take a look at that. um um but um but yeah, like you learn software like Microsoft Azure. I think Microsoft Azure is some kind of IT ticketing system or some sort. It's an IT help desk ticketing is system or some sort. So I don't have much experience with it, but apparently a lot of people are learning it. And once you learn it, you basically can just apply to a job and you can just go to work immediately. Jason Andrew, what's going on, man? What's going on? We got to learn something new. Trucking might be paying $7 by 2030. I know. I know. I mean, trucking ain't going nowhere. We just in a bad period in time. That's all. With trucking, the thing is with the transportation industry, truck transportation industry, a lot of guys have gotten into the industry over the last 2016 through 2017, when trucking hit like a boom. It was a piles of money was everywhere in trucking. 2017, 2018. And a lot of guys went out there and bought a truck. A lot of guys went out there and got their DOT. And combine that with COVID hitting the market, hitting the economy. I think what happened is just the economy just couldn't sustain the amount of trucks and the amount of freight. The freight to truck ratio was been thrown off. And so I think right now it's just not a lot of loads out there. It's just not a lot of freight out there. Companies are not shipping what they used to. And so the freight volumes go down. And with all these guys out here, with all these CDLs out here, with all the DOTs and everybody went out there and got their own authority, independent drivers are just not being successful. And this process is what's going on. The process is basically weeding out those guys, getting rid of those guys, because there's just too many guys in the industry, too many guys with their own authority in the industry. And so it's just a bad period in time. That's just my opinion. It's just a bad period in time. Trucking ain't going nowhere. It's just a bad period in time. And once the market fixes itself, once the economy fixes itself, the trucking industry fixes itself, it'll be another boom, come back again, and it'll be just fine. But it's just going to take a little bit longer than was what we predicted coming out of COVID. We're still dealing with a lot of effects of COVID. So combine that with the interest rates are high. The interest rates are high. The fact that the Treasury interest rates are so damn high, they're trying to slow spending. They have to slow down the speed of spending. That's all. Money is moving too fast. And when you have when you got money is moving so fast, that's inflation. That increases the inflation, because the speed of money is moving too fast. Transactions are moving too fast. And what happens is you increase inflation. Prices go up. demand goes up. And it's just basic economics. If you understand basic economics, when you have more demand, the price go up. And when and you have to increase supply, it's like all that stuff combined together increases inflation. It is what it is. And so what the Fed is trying to do is trying to slow down inflation by increasing the interest rates. Stop people from spending. We got to stop spending. But we got a lot of money in the market from COVID. We got a lot of excess cash in the market, a lot of free cash in the market from COVID. And so that's what it is. The government dumped all this money in the market. The PPP loans, those not the PPP grants, the EDL loans. You talking about trillions and trillions of dollars that was dumped in the market. And that money is still out there circulating, and there was no production behind that money to match the earnings. So they just dumped all this money. There was no earnings behind it to match it. So the way that the economy works is that you have some production, and for every piece of production, you got to have some earnings to go with it. So it's a tilt. It's kind of like a seesaw effect. And so you got production and you got earnings, you got production. So you got to have the earnings and production to go with it. But they had a whole bunch of money dumped in the market with no production on the other end. So that's what happened. And so we're dealing with inflation because of that. They dumped all this money in the market. And you might have to Google a basic economics video or something to understand what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm not explaining it properly, but that's what's going on. And so, and with the trucking industry has a front row seat to that, because as soon as companies stop making stuff and there's too much money, trucking has a front row seat of it. And so as soon as a manufacturer stops shipping stuff, a manufacturer stop making things, they lay off people, they fire people, and that's less shipments to put on a truck. When there's less shipments, the trucking industry has a front row seat. They don't have nothing to ship. There are no loads. And so that's what's going on. And so it ain't just that. Is all of trucking, all truck transportation, all transportation across the board is seeing a 40% decrease. It's damn near a 50% decrease, but we're talking about a 40-50% decrease in business. And so, I mean, it's getting so bad that IT is firing people, And so it's just unfortunate, but it's all gonna come back. It's all gonna come back with due time. The American economy is a very powerful economy, and it's just, you got to be patient. We're just in a blip in time. If you go back over 50 years and you look at a graph and you look at the hills and valleys we just a little dip in time. And if you look at the little period in time across the board, American economy is a powerhouse. It is a powerhouse. And if you look at the graph, as the production of America is like this. And if you go to other countries, you go to China, it's like this, and sometimes it's like that. And so if you go to Russia has been dealing with a 50-60 year decline. And so, but the American economy is like this. American economy is very strong. And so you don't want to be in some of those other countries where they have nothing. They have nothing. You don't want to go to I'm trying to think of a poor country. Some of these countries in Africa where they have nothing. You go to some of these poor countries in Russia and India, some of these Indian countries, they have nothing. There's nothing there. There's no production. There's not even an opportunity for it. There's not even a future opportunity for it. And so, but here in America, we have some of the biggest, wealthiest companies in the world. And so, yeah, it's just, we're just in a very small period in time. And, you know, and I know sometimes as humans, we can't see that far. We can't see that far. And we don't have a good memory. We don't have a good memory, and we can't see that far. And so, you know, we can't go back. We don't, as humans, we don't know how to go back 20 years. And we don't know how to go back 30 years. And people look at the interest rates and be like, oh, the interest rates are 6%. Yeah, but back in the 80s, back in 89, the interest rates were 15, you know? And so you couldn't tell somebody from 89 that we would ever see 1% and 2% interest rates, but we did, you know? Remember 2008? 2008 interest rates were 8, 9, you know? And so that's when I bought my first house in 2008. Interest rates were 8. And so, you know, interest rates, they go up and they go down, and, you know, they go up and they go down. That's what they do. And so, and, you know, people just don't realize, they're very forgetful, and you can't tell people nothing, you know. And it's just one of those things. But you just have to do research. You have to look at history and read history, see where we came from to know where we're going. I mean, that's just what it is. You go back 100 years, what we're dealing with today ain't nothing man has never dealt with. You know, there's inflation before. There's always been inflation. It existed long before today. It's just this period in time we're dealing with it, and trucking is gonna come back. It's just taking longer than is. You know, I've been talking to some old heads that's been in trucking for 30, 40 years, and like I've talked to some guys, and they're like, man, this is the worst they ever seen it. This is the worst they ever seen it. They never seen trucking get this bad. Usually, from my experience over my 15-year career in trucking, I think I've seen a couple, and they come back in about a couple years, 2-3 years, it comes back. You know, I got into trucking during a bad economy. You know, I got into trucking in 2007, 2008 during a bad economy, and it's the most money I wouldn't say it's the most money I ever made, but up to that point, it was the most money I ever made at that point. And so it's all perspective. It's all perspective. And so when Chase and Andrew saying that we got to learn something new, yeah, we all got to learn something new, but I don't think trucking gonna be paying $7 an hour. Nobody wouldn't do the job, you know. Nobody wouldn't do the job, because the cost of capital that it takes to move a truck down the road, you couldn't get a truck down the road for $7 an hour. You know, that's just a fact. You know, you couldn't move a truck down the road for $7 an hour, because all the capital it takes to move it down the road. You know, if that does happen, the government would have to come up with a whole bunch of subsidies and tax breaks for the truck driver to be even an incentive to even go into the trucking industry. It's just one of those common sense things, but it's kind of, because there are other things that you could do if a person has some sense, right? And if you're trying to decide if you want to go into welding, if you want to go into HVAC, plumbing, you wouldn't go into truck driving if it paid that much. You get what I'm saying? You wouldn't stay in it that long if it paid that much. And if it paid $10 an hour, well, you wouldn't do it. You could go flip burgers at McDonald's and make more money, And so, That's one of that's kind of the point I'm trying to make. And so the capital that, like, I know to run my truck down the road and all the capital that it took to get a truck to go down the road. You got to get a trailer, you got to get a truck, you got to put fuel, you got to get insurance, you got to do all this stuff. It takes a lot of money to get a truck down the road to be profitable. And then the cost of living is just not enough money to go around to it's just not enough money to go around. And so but we'll see. But I trucking isn't going anywhere. It's just a bad period in time, just not a good time at this point. And so I know, but I know a lot of guys can't afford to wait 2, 3 years, 4 years for the trucking industry to come back. They can't sit up here and wait for that. They're surviving. They're just surviving. And, they're just surviving, trying to pay bills. And a lot of guys on the edge of bankruptcy for this industry, I've been watching a lot of videos. Guys been convoying down the highway and boycotting and all that. Ain't no boycotting can fix this. You can't make a tire manufacturer more tires when no one is buying more tires. If no one is buying more tires, you can't make a tire manufacturer put more loads in the market to ship more tires. It's just not available, And so with the interest rates so high, the Treasury, the Federal Reserve, is trying to slow down spending. What they're doing is working. You get what I'm saying? The reason why it's working, because it's affecting the trucking industry. When people are spending a bunch of money, that means there are loads. People are buying things, and there are loads because people are buying things. When people are not buying anything, the loads are cut. That's the 40% cut in the trucking industry. FedEx, the biggest carriers in the world, in the country, their revenues have been cut 40% across the board. You talking about American Airlines, you talking about truck transportation, air transportation. Their revenues have been cut 30-40%. That's a lot, man. You look at any of these companies' balance sheets, they're all been cut 40%. I looked at JB Hunt's balance sheet. I look at their income statement from the last 10 years. Outside of COVID, 2023, 2024, their income statement, their balance sheet, their cash flows is all decreased by 40%. 40. So you got a company that's been making 5 billion a year, 5 billion a year. They're only making 2.5 billion. That's a lot. I don't know about you, but you can't afford to be making 100,000 and then go to making 50,000. That's a lot, and so it's the interest rates. The Fed has increased the interest rates to slow down the pace and the flow of transactions. That's what they're trying to do. So if they increase the interest rates, the cost of capital, every company out here, most companies out here uses borrow money to run a business. Either be on a 30-day note, 60-day, or a 90-day note. It's called commercial paper. And so this is a current liability that they're using. For example, Walmart will buy Tide from Procter and Gamble on a 90-day or maybe even 120-day note. Once they sell all the Tide, Walmart will write Tide a check. That's usually how the game goes. And that money is borrowed. Companies find it is more efficient to do it that way than to use their own cash. They borrow the money. So that money that's borrowed, they would pay a premium to borrow the money. And so, either it be equity, stock money, or it would be money that they actually borrow from the bank. And so it's easier to do business that way, the bigger companies. But when capital is more expensive to operate, then the executives of the company, they would decide to not do it. And so they would cut it. And so they'd be like, okay, instead of using bank money where we're spending 6 points on a dollar, well, let's go over here where we only pay 2 points on the dollar. So you would see a lot of shift going from equity to bonds. They would go and get money from bonds. And so you're seeing a lot of companies, they're selling bonds now because it's cheaper. They make more money. They can save money by selling some bonds or something like that. And so, but that's essentially what's going on. I mean, it's in a large effect, having a large effect with the economy. And so, and unfortunately, truck drivers, the trucking industry has a front row seat. When the economy slows down, the trucking industry has a front row seat to the demand and the effects of slowed down business production. Walmart isn't requiring as many Pepsi Colas. Walmart is not shipping X, Y, and Z, and that's just a fact of what it is. And if you understand how all this ecosystem and everything works together, and then it'll make more sense to you. But that's kind of my opinion on what's going on, my observation. We're still dealing with the effects of COVID. They dumped all that money in COVID until all this get leveled out, and either they match production with the money that they dumped in the marketplace, then everything will level back out and equal itself out. That's kind of my opinion on that. Chasing Andrews say, I think people will still do it because a lot of truckers need the truck for their homes. A lot of homeless truckers. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that a lot of guys live in a truck. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. It's a real good point. But anyway, I got an hour on here. My battery going dead. I just wanted to check in with y'all. I'm out here on my training. I'm out here in Texas training. Doing accounting work. That's what I'm doing. But anyway, I appreciate y'all watching my videos, man. I'll see y'all next time.